Entry-level car models are meant to bring a wider audience into a brand, distilling a brand's essence at a more affordable price point, whether that's a Ferrari Roma or a BMW 1 Series. For NIO, it's the ET5 and ET5 Touring, but I always felt like the old one had a few too many compromises to save a few pennies. This is the brand new NIO ET5 Touring, and now this entry-level NIO properly matches NIO's premium positioning. And where I felt the old one slightly missed the mark, this one has got it bang on. I'm Will, and this is China Driven. As for pricing, nothing's been announced yet. I'll know when you know. But NIO did say that there won't really be any price change for this new model, and we already know the new NT2.5 ES6 and EC6 have gone to market for the exact same price as the outgoing model. Since recording, the new ET5 and ET5 Touring have actually launched, so we do know that it starts at 298,000 RMB, or just over $41,000. Exactly the same price as the outgoing model, so ta-da! It's a NIO, so we know the formula. You have access to either a 75 or 100 kilowatt hour pack as standard, and you can also do a temporary upgrade to the 150 kilowatt hour pack. And true to NIO fashion, you'll be able to push down that initial purchase price if you opt for BAAS, where you rent the battery for a monthly fee. And like all models across NIO, that's going to cost you either 100 or 150 bucks, depending on whether you have the 75 or 100 kilowatt hour pack respectively. NIO claim there's a slight increase in range for the NIO ET5 and ET5T, around 30 kilometers over the previous model. Equipped with a 75 kilowatt hour pack, you now have a 585 kilometer range, and the 100 kilowatt hour pack will give you 740 kilometers. There's no official claimed range yet for the 150 kilowatt hour pack, but if we add on a similar 30 kilometers added range, you can expect something like 1,085 kilometers. NIO have sharpened its knife when it comes to the exterior design of this new ET5, and whilst most of that restyling is at the front end, don't think it hasn't made a big difference to the way that this thing looks. We still get the classic NIO double dash daytime running lights, but this time they're wider. And we also still have the ET5 shark nose profile, but the whole front bumper has been reworked and re-chiseled, especially down below where the intake is and around the headlight units. And those headlight units, well, they're brand new matrix headlights, and they've got a few kind of tricks trickled down from the primo NIO ET9. They're not the same units as the ET9, but they have some of that magic, using its LiDAR and 4D radar in order to identify potential objects and pedestrians on the road. It can alert the driver by shining a more intense beam of light on pedestrians, or it can block out certain pixels to create a window without blinding other traffic. Past the A-pillar, not much has changed, but the NIO ET5 and ET5 Touring are some of NIO's most popular models, and this is just a mid-cycle refresh, so you wouldn't expect too many changes. You do, however, now get gloss plastic trim on the bottom of the bodywork all the way around, as opposed to the matte grey plastic that the outgoing model had. In terms of trunk space for the new ET5 and ET5 Touring, well, it's exactly the same as the old one, which means this Touring has 450 litres of rear space with the seats up. Not the fastest automatic tailgate, I must say, but if you drop those rear seats, which you can actually do one by one individually, well, you get 1,300 litres in total. NIO gave me something that I think is quite fun. There's these two little, well, they call them ducks, but I think they're geese. And there's a fun little experiment we can do. For those who don't know, I'm actually a science teacher, or at least I was a high school chemistry teacher, so this intrigues me. They basically say that inside here there's different films in the glass that really help to block out the UV light. And so we'll keep one of our little goosey friends with us, and we'll put the other one outside in the sun, and we'll see what happens. In he goes there. Put our other little friend out in the sun. Now inside this new NIO ET5, we've got some kind of material upgrades. We still get that speckled kind of plastic in the center console, but now it's being flanked by color matched leather, and it's got some metal accenting on it as well. We also get new door cards, which also have some more kind of color matched materials, some badging for the Dolby Atmos spatial audio 23 speaker 1000 watt system in here, and also you get some metal speaker grills. Now all of these things all sound quite minor by themselves, but kind of bring it all together, and it is a noticeable kind of freshening up of this interior for this new ET5. Now these seats are completely brand new for this ET5, and there's lots of different numbers that NIO has given, but long story short, they've got more padding and they're supposedly more comfortable. I have to say, sat in them, they are very, very nice. Now, they actually say that one of the things is the bottom seat is 2 separate cushions to support each side of your behind to better distribute weight and make it more comfortable on long journeys. All I can say is, so far my butt's happy. They of course come with heat, ventilation, spa massage function, and depending on whether you get the base interior or the upgraded interior, they'll either come in NIO's non-leather Haptex material, which feels really good, or you can upgrade to Nappa leather. There's also a couple of additional new features for the ET5. First, you get a digital rear view mirror, which, like the range-topping flagship ET9, can tilt up and down and zoom in and out. But the key addition over the outgoing ET5 has to be the heads-up display. It gives you all your driver information, plus shows you maps, your ADAS visualization, and most importantly, a blind spot video feed right there on the heads-up display. Okay, I'll talk about the big changes in this interior. Now, I think that this ET5 has been updated and improved in so many ways, but there is one thing that I'm not a big fan of, and it's here, or rather it's not here, and that's the classic NIO gear selector that's been a staple NIO style icon since the very beginning. They removed it, and now we've got a stalk for drive, neutral, reverse, and park, and they did that so they could put in 2 50-watt cooled wireless phone chargers, and I'm sure that customers will be happy with an additional wireless charger. But when I look at this center console without the gear selector here, I feel it's a bit more generic, a bit more samey with so many other Chinese EV brands. And so I think it's a bit of a shame that we've lost that kind of classic NIO styling cue. And I hope that in the future, we might see it come back. But NIO has answered the prayers of many, many people, and they've gone with a horizontal screen inside this new ET5. It's a 16.5-inch 3K AMOLED touchscreen, and it looks fantastic, and I'm really digging Cedar OS. I played a little bit with it in the ET9, but in this NT2.5 ET5, they have updated it with the English version, so I've dug around a little bit more and I really enjoy it. And look, horizontal screens just make much more sense when people nowadays love consuming more content inside their vehicles. But having grumbled myself about consuming content on a vertical screen in my ET7, I kind of feel like a situation of be careful what you wish for. Because look, a horizontal screen is vastly superior functionally and for what people want in their cars nowadays. But I just can't help that we've lost just a little bit more of that NIO uniqueness. But we still have the mainstay of a NIO interior, and that is Nomi. We have the upgraded Nomi 3.0 in here, which means she can now turn her head up to 340 degrees, although she does moan if you do that. Thanks, Nomi. But anyway, it's a key staple in NIO interiors, and I'm glad that we still have it. Its functionality, its movement, its speed and response time have been improved, and it's all the better for it. But don't take my little grumbles too seriously, because overall, step back, and this is definitely a premium interior. It's more just my nostalgic feeling. This still comes with maybe my favorite ambient lighting in any Chinese EV. I just love the way it spills out of seemingly nowhere. But overall, fantastic new interior. Here's our little goosey friend from earlier who's been staying nicely outside of the sun inside the UV protected cabin of the ET5. Let's check his little mate outside. Now you don't have to be one of my science students to explain to you that this was our little goosey friend from the interior. And this was our little goosey friend from outside, and he is, woof, he is orange and burnt. So one cooked duck, whilst the other one was nice and safely inside this ET5 cabin. Welcome to the rear of the NIO ET5 Touring. Now this has exactly the same space as the outgoing model, so the same kind of headroom and the same kind of knee room. This is me sat behind myself. I'm 170 centimeters. I'm not the tallest person in the world. This is a compact wagon, but you know, the space in here, it's okay. Sure, if you had a 190 centimeter person driving and another 190 centimeter person sat behind them, then yeah, space might start to get a bit tight. You get the updated door cards in here and the metal grills on the speakers. So again, elevating this whole cabin, a bit more kind of extra little metal accenting going on as well. And of course, these seats in the rear, they are all brand new as well. Again, those two separate butt cushions to equally balance your behind. And these rear seats, they are actually really comfortable. They're really soft. They're really nice. You get the same panoramic roof as before, but now with more UV protection, as you saw in our little experiment earlier. What is new in the rear of here is what NIO is calling Mag Plus, which is basically magnets in the back of the chair. Actually, that's not quite true. It's a metal plate in the back of the chair, and the accessories, this is a tissue holder, have a magnet in the rear of them, and then you can just attach them like that. And the magnets are decently strong. They're going to be all kinds of accessories. For example, we have another one here. It's a phone holder, and it just goes on like that. Oh, and then you can then just put your phone on like that, or a tablet, or whatever it may be. And trust me, they're pretty strong. This has the exact same power as the outgoing model, 340 kilowatts of power and 700 Newton meters of torque. Good for a 0 to 100 sprint time of 4 seconds. But don't worry, because there's plenty of changes to the driving experience underneath the car. So this new NIO ET5, well, it gets double pane glass up front and CDC. Now, that's not to say that the outgoing model was uncomfortable or loud, but this is a noticeable upgrade over that car. After all, whether this is meant to be sporty or not, it's a NIO product, and that means it's a premium product. So I'm glad that it now has these premium features added. But of course, this is NIO's sporty little model, and it gets the exclusive EP mode, which is named after NIO's EP9, its absolute track weapon. And now it's got CDC. Well, just like other things in the ET9, EP mode has been upgraded. But let me pull over and talk you through that. Okay, so I pulled over to show you this EP mode. So basically you jump in and you press EP mode. Lots of strange sounds that go on. And basically you're presented with this first page. You got things here like information about the car, shows you tire load, tire pressures, tire temperature. It shows you front and rear motor temperatures as well as brake disc temperature as well. And over on your right, you've got a G-force meter as well. You also got some quick modes within inside EP mode, common, which basically means daily, mountain, track mode, and drifting. So all of these are kind of predetermined, preset up modes. But if you want to get more nerdy, more car nerdy, you can jump into here where you can change the driving dynamics, sport, or you can go to track. You can customize the suspension to where you can change the rebound and the compression. Steering, regenerative braking, it's all here for you to do. And you can also change the heads-up display. Right now, I'm looking at a G meter instead of the navigation, but you can, of course, put it back to your normal navigation. Now, this is all very exciting. I mean, what car nerd doesn't like the minute adjustability in their car? But there is one feature of the new EP mode that, well, I'm kind of unsure about. Now, since track time in China is very expensive, NIO's come up with this edgy way where you can basically search for recommended routes in your areas that are kind of either mountain passes or really twisty roads, which is a great way to kind of help people who are normally stuck on boring city commutes to find somewhere more interesting to drive. But here's where it starts to get questionable. Now, you can actually record a video of your drive. Okay, maybe you want to remember some cool driving road that you went down, maybe some memory, but it also has a timer and a stopwatch at the top of that video. So now basically what we have is mountain passes with a start line and a finish line and a timer. Serious illegal Japanese mountain racing vibes. Now, NIO, of course, don't condone driving dangerously or racing on public roads. They say that this is just for users to find interesting roads to drive on. And to be fair to them, most of these routes are between kind of an hour and an hour and a half, so it's hardly sprint racing. But it just gives me these vibes, and I don't know whether it's just close to the line or just a little bit over it. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. I really hate being a party pooper. Regardless of the questionable mountain passes on EP mode, this is fun to drive. And I spent quite a long time with the old NIO ET5, driving at 1,000 kilometers along China's National 318 road, over 5,800 meters and all sorts of roads, twisty roads. You should really go watch that video. So I'm quite familiar with how the old ET5 Touring drove. And this is even better. It's more engaging, feels more stable, and sweeping and ripping around, sweeping corners like this. It feels properly planted, and it's just put a smile on my face all day long. This whole upgrade, there's not really one thing that you can point to that says this is what makes the new ET5 Touring better. It's just lots of small improvements, and together, the whole package is much, much better. Another big update underneath the skin is that this has ditched the 4 NVIDIA Orin X ADAS chips and instead rocks a single Shunji NX9031. That's NIO's in-house developed ADAS chip. And, well, NIO claimed that it's equivalent or better than 4 Orin X chips. But a couple of quick things to point out regarding the cameras on the new ET5. Firstly, the ET5 is currently utilizing the new NIO ISP. Very technical stuff, but the result is clearer image quality from the current camera feeds and mind-blowing low light performance. The ET5 also is able to use its main ADAS cameras for other duties like the digital rearview mirror, giving better video quality. But a nice feature is its ability to take the 3 front-facing ADAS cameras and stitch them together to give you a panoramic video recording. I'm not really going to talk about the NIO ET5's ADAS capabilities. Instead, I'm going to wait for NIO World Model Update. That is an OTA coming in the very near future that promises to take NIO's ADAS game into the first tier in China. This is not a facelift just for the sake of it. NIO's finally done what they should have done the first time around, and they've also sprinkled some next generation magic on top of it. The compromises are gone, the premium details are here, and it drives sharper than ever. It properly feels like a NIO without any of the caveats. If you're on the fence about the old one, this is a NIO ET5's glow up.